Google Scholar is a multidisciplinary search engine that was designed to search for scholarly information, including academic journal articles. It crawls the websites of scholarly publishers like Sage, Springer, Taylor and Francis, and Elsevier. It also crawls open access journals, scholarly organization websites, and the Google Books collection. Sometimes Google Scholar crawls these sites and identifies new literature before the literature is added to the library databases. You can access Google Scholar directly at scholar.google.com, or you can find it through the Communication Research Guide here at the bottom. Google may not be your favorite search engine, but the fact that Google Scholar allows us to specifically search scholarly literature separate from the other content on the web makes it an important research tool. Most scholarly journal articles are owned by or are the intellectual property of the journal publisher. When you find a journal article through Google Scholar or other search engines, the publisher will likely prompt you to pay to view the article. Sometimes the author of the article has posted a draft or a preprint of their article that you can access for free, but most often you will need to access the articles through your library to avoid paying for them yourself. You can avoid this by configuring your Google Scholar settings to know that you are affiliated with the University of Washington. Click on these three lines near the top left corner of the screen. Click on Settings, and now click on Library Links. Search for University of Washington. And you will find UW libraries listed on the second screen. Select University of Washington full text at UW and click the Save button. Now Google Scholar will be able to connect us to articles and books available through the UW libraries. So let's try a search. I'm going to enter video games. And for this particular search, I think I'll focus on the genre of sports video games. And I think I'll investigate the well-being specific to health in adolescents. So let's search for that. And we can see that we have a lot of results, 22,400 results. They look similar to the results we saw in library databases. There's the title, there's some of the citation information. We get to see a bit of content that's often pulled from the abstract. We can cite the sources using Google Scholar. So you can cut and paste the APA citation style here. You can see how many times an article has been cited by another publication since the article's original publication. Google also has this feature that doesn't always work very well, but you can click on related articles and it will try to find articles similar to the one that you're interested in. And then it also has the version control. So sometimes you can find the preprints of articles or find articles similar to that published on organizational websites using that link there for the versions. Over here, this full text at UW link that appears, this shows because we just set our Google Scholar settings to know that we are affiliated with the University of Washington libraries. So every time you see this link, you can click on it and it will take you to UW Library Search. And as long as the UW Libraries subscribes to that particular journal and has access to the article, you'll get a link to the article. So here we are in the UW Library search record for the link between playing video games and positive youth outcomes, published in 2017. And sure enough, it's available in Wiley. And the information here says that it's available from 2007 up to the present issue. So we should be able to access this. Just to be safe, I'm going to log in for all services and enter my UW NetID and password to avoid any potential problems with accessing the article. So now I'm going to click the Wiley link and it's asking for it again, which I'm not really sure why. But we will put it in. I really should have a shorter password. Okay, and now we have access to the article. So like the other publisher websites that we've looked at in other videos, we can see the citation information, the permalink that would get us back to the UW subscription copy of this particular article. We can download the PDF and we can read the article here on the screen. So let's go back to Google Scholar. Google Scholar has fewer ways to focus your search than library databases offer. It relies on the search terms that you enter into the search box, and it does allow you to narrow your search results to the dates of publication. Hidden up here back under the three little bars in the top left corner is an option for an advanced search. So we can click on advanced search and see that the text here really replicates the functionality and the search tricks that we're able to use in library databases. So when it says with all of the words, that's the same thing as using that and Boolean operator, which is also called a connector in a library database. So right now, Google is searching sports and well-being and health and adolescence. With the exact phrase is the same as putting quotation marks around the words. Now, Google seems to only be able to do this with one concept in this particular box. So it's taken the video games phrase that I had in my original search with quotation marks around it and put it here. And then it on its own put quotation marks around well-being and left that in the other category. With at least one of these words is the same as using the or Boolean operator. So if we wanted to make sure we were doing a comprehensive search, although we're getting 22,000 articles, so I don't know that we need any more, but we could also put in teen, teens, teenagers here to get at the other terminologies that scholars might use to refer to the this age group. And then there are other options down here where you can limit your search by saying, I only want you to retrieve results that have my words in the title of the article. And that would drastically reduce the number of articles that you're seeing. You can enter the author's name if you'd like to search that way. And then you can also limit your search to a particular journal if you'd like to do that as well. And then we can click search, and it expanded the number of results we have because instead of only searching for the word adolescence, we also asked it to find teen, teens, and teenagers. And you can see how it entered our or connector or that or Boolean operator up there. Now, I'm just curious, if we go back to advanced search and we say we want it in the title of the article, let's just see what we get. Nothing. So it really does need to search across those multiple fields in order to find information for us. We'll get our articles back. Okay, so most of these have full text at UW available, which is great. You can click on those links and get to the article available through the UW libraries and avoid having to pay for them yourself. This particular one does not have a full text at UW link. So that means that Google is not sure if we subscribe to it or not. So if you click on this little icon here, it expands your options to show full text at UW. This link actually has Google perform a search of the UW Libraries catalog for us to see if the UW Libraries has it. In this particular case, for this article, it shows that it is not available online. So we now see this article request option. We can click on that and it should take us into the UW Libraries interlibrary loan service. If you have not used this service before, it will actually take you into your profile for interlibrary loan and ask you to fill out your profile. So your name, your UW Net ID, your address, those types of things. You'll only have to do that once. And then each time you click that request an article scan button in the UW Library Search database, you'll be taken to the request for that particular item. It populates it with the information that the ILL staff need to fill your request, and you submit it. And then you should get an email telling you you can download the PDF within about 2 business days. It's a really great service, and it's an excellent way to make sure that while the UW libraries can't afford to subscribe to everything that's published, we can help you with your research and avoid your research suffering because we don't have access to everything. So we provide free article scans for you from other libraries through this interlibrary loan service. Some things may just be available for free online and don't really need to be available through a library. So in this particular case, it's a .gov and it's from the Department of Education. I suspect that it would just allow us to see the article. And yes, sure enough, there's the download the full text. So this is something that we call an open source item. It is available for you to access online for free. So you'll find a variety of different types of information when you're searching Google Scholar, but keep in mind that as long as you set your Scholar settings and you use those full text at UW links, you should be connected to the UW Libraries subscriptions to the articles and thus be able to have access to them as current UW students, faculty, and staff. While you will not always be affiliated with the UW libraries and thus able to use the UW restricted databases from off campus, Google, and especially Google Scholar, will hopefully be around for a long time. And you will be able to continue to have access to the powerful search engine that allows you to limit your search and find scholarly literature. So just be sure to configure your Google Scholar settings for the nearest college or university to you. And as long as that institution is a public one, you should be able to go in to its library to access the full text of the articles for free.